It happens all the time.
You hear that story about a successful person or product that leaves you with more questions than answers. There's gotta be more to it. What big moments happen in between, and why did things take off?
That's why we created The Big W, a podcast that dives deeper into the people and the products that are grabbing our attention. Welcome to The Big W. Today we have the Anthony Lamacchia from Lamacchia Real Estate, Lamacchia Development, Crush It in Real Estate, just about everything. North Shore Realtor, but if you are from Massachusetts and you're in real estate, or if you're in lending, or if you're in conveyance, you already know about this guy. If you're probably anybody in Massachusetts, you've seen his billboard. Why is he on The Big W, Matty? What are some moments that jump out to you?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is a power-packed machine of enthusiasm and passion, and that's what really draws us to him. But he's got so many great W moments. You know, big who, big when, big what, and he jumps right in right when we start and talks about the impact, the influence that a recruiter had on him to really start giving away all his free content and just giving it all away and becoming an educator to even people that don't work for him, and the influence that had on his ability to recruit a massive amount and grow to almost 300 realtors in a short period of time. Really important to listen to.
Yeah, compound effect is massive. Well, let's get right to it. Today, Maddie and I bring you Anthony Lamacchia. Crush It in Real Estate. This is for realtors to really help them get ahead and really help them with, what I understand is sales tactics and listening tactics and positioning themselves as the guide to really help people get into homes. Tell us about how that came about, and tell us about the good you're doing in the community.
So the Crush It in Real Estate page has been a big success. We launched it in the week after Thanksgiving, 2018, and we already have 24,000 likes and follows, and people are all over it. It's been a big success, and it really speaks to the hunger for realtors to learn. That's what it speaks to. I mean, yeah, it's a cool name. I guess I'm decent on camera. You know what I mean? I'm pretty natural with the camera. There's a lot of things in life I'm not good at, but one of them I'm pretty good at is, when the light turns on. But to be truthful, it was not my original idea. We hired a recruiting coach, a guy by the name of John Cheplak out of Las Vegas, who got involved with us. And the first call I ever had with him, he's like, look, I've heard that you're a good trainer. We have mutual friends. I heard when you get on stage, you own the audience, and you have a ton of good sales tactics and all that. I've heard you even sell training, but the only people that know about it are the people that are in your circle. And if they're not in your circle, they're never going to know about it. And I, at the time, was like, wow, I don't like, sharing unless they're already part of our company. And he's like, yeah, dude, that's great. That's going to work out really well. And you're going to stay at 120 realtors for the next 10 years. He's like, if you want the masses to be able to see what you're about and see what you have to offer, you have to give them nuggets. You have to give them a taste, and you got to stop with this business about, I only want it for me and my people. He's like, Anthony, here's how it works. 99% of them are going to be impressed, and 95% aren't going to do anything you say, but they're going to be impressed. And he's like, just do it. And literally that afternoon, I launched the page. And I can still remember, I was standing in front of my dual monitors with the camera back here. And I just said, hey, we're going to have this page, and I'm going to share different real estate ideas. And within like 2 weeks, we had 1,000 likes. And I was like, what the hell? Because I did like 2 or 3 videos about like basic things. And I was like, wow, this is interesting, 1,000 likes. And then it just took off, and it took off nationally because we also sell our training nationally, which obviously has increased since we did this. We moved it online. So now we used to have people tune in live over a Skype. Now we sell them access to our online training center that our realtors get as well. And they obviously get it for free. But that was the impetus for the Crush It in Real Estate page. And I'll tell you, the more I act like me and wear a hat and have a 3-day beard and act normal and screw up or drop the camera or misspeak, the more people love it. It's amazing. It's really worked out. It's really surprised me. I've learned a lot from doing it. And now, obviously, I have the hang of it. I mean, we're coming up on a year and a half of having the page. So
well, it certainly makes you more relatable when you've got those little quirks and things that happen that aren't planned for. You know, that's the beauty of doing like a live feed or a social feed opposed to, you know, something that's so pre-recorded and preset. We love the idea. And when it came out and the fact they were giving to people outside Lamacchia, immediately Zach and I were like, that's a brilliant idea. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it wasn't mine. I'd like to say it was my idea.
Hey,
the content is mostly me.
We didn't give you credit. No, for the record, we didn't give you credit. We just said it's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
But hey, out of curiosity, and I guess I'm assuming, but have you seen growth that you expected from Lamacchia, number of realtors, sort of just business being done since you started that?
It's the single best recruiting tool I've ever had. And it goes back to exactly what John said. You know, I actually didn't tell you the phrase that he said. What he said is, people don't believe what they hear, they believe what they experience. And he's like, you know, I heard that you slated on the stage at Zillow. I heard you slated on the stage at Inman, blah, blah. He's like, but I believe it because we have the same mutual friends that we've known for 10 years. He's like, another realtor that automatically wants to be skeptical, that is looking for a reason to not give you credit. You know, that's some of the things that we talked about. And I understood all that because I teach sales. So I understand skepticism. Skepticism costs people more money than anything else. Everybody is always, well, is that really real? I was with a bunch of realtors in the winter in New York at the Inman conference. And we were talking about a team leader at a company somewhere. And we're eating pizza, literally in a pizza shop in New York. And I'm listening to people around the table. Well, I heard she does good because her husband makes a lot of money and gives her money to do good. And the next one, well, I heard she does good because she picked off a good listing agent, but that listing agent isn't going to stay with her. Oh, and I heard she does good because it went all the way around. I listened to everybody and I go, hey, I have a question. What if she's just good because she's good? And they were like, well, yeah, I guess she is kind of good. I'm like, no, really. But that's what people do. Everybody has skepticism. Nobody wants to give credit. Nobody wants to say, oh, Anthony Lamacchia actually knows what he's talking about. You know, I see Anthony Lamacchia on TV, but he actually understands what it's like to meet with a buyer, meet with a seller. And that was John's whole point. And when he opened my eyes to it, I got it. And that was why I just started pumping content out. And now it's easy. I just hear realtors talk about struggles they're having. I know things that go on at certain times of the year. And I just share nuggets. And if people went on my crushitandre.com website, went to the Crush It videos and watched the 2 years worth of videos, they'd get 75% of my training program if you actually pieced it all together.
Yeah, it's so well done. And what I'm hearing is, do you know who David Goggins is? Do you follow his stuff? Do you know that he's an interesting read, but he talks a little bit about how people label you because they want to justify it why they're not doing it in their own head. That's why they say like, oh, LeBron James is naturally gifted. It's like they're just trying to justify it for themselves so they don't feel bad. They're not intentionally trying to take him down. It's just, it makes them feel better.
That's right. It's not necessarily personal.
No.
It's just people put beliefs in their heads and they run with them as hard as they can because of it. And, you know, to get back to Matt's question, have we recruited people? Yeah. I mean, it's no secret. We've grown dramatically since we launched that page. You know, we were growing, but that was what took us. I mean, at the time, I think we had 89 realtors when I first started working with John, and now we have 275. And, you know, it's not all because of Crush It, but it's a big part of it. I'll tell you why. It gets people to do this. It gets people to go, maybe there is something there. Maybe there's a reason they grow. Maybe there's a reason they dominate every market. Maybe they actually do this for 1 minute and open those eyes, and then they start thinking, and then they go, nah, can't be. And then a week later, I pop up with another video. And they're like, this guy sounds like he might know what he's talking about. Then 2 days later, I do another video. And I act like me. And they're like, geez, he's not that stuffy suit and tie guy that I see on television. Because remember, they want to hate me. They're looking, competition wants to hate. But when you teach them things and you help them and you genuinely, I mean, one thing you got to understand, because I know a lot of sales organizations and salespeople are going to listen to this. You guys have a massive following. And, you know, I've been very impressed with you guys as well. But one thing that people have to know is this doesn't work, what I'm doing on Crush It, unless you genuinely are trying to help people. I want to point that out. And that's something that I'm passionate about. Like, when I get up in the morning, I'm not like, what fake video can I do today to fool people into thinking I know? No. I get up and I say, what struggle is our realtors having that I can solve for them today? We did something 2 weeks ago. I don't know if you've been following, but now since COVID happened, every Wednesday at 11 a.m., I'm doing Crush It videos. And I'm going live for an hour and doing market updates and talking about things from the government and all these other things. And I'm genuinely, when I do that, trying to help. And I'm talking to our realtors, I'm talking to outside realtors. And what I'm doing is I'm giving them a glimpse of what it looks like to be in the company. And then when they get a glimpse, they're like, I'm getting more interested. I'm getting more interested kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I love that. And one of my favorite videos you posted, and again, this might not be, I think this might have been on your personal page, when you posted, you put I think the Rocky theme song on the mic and you were just jamming out in the early morning on a weekend or something. There were some people there. And so that brings the question, what is it like to work with you? What's the feeling like?
Well, I mean, you'd have to ask a lot of our employees, and I don't want to, I guess that's a tricky question to answer, but if you look around, the people that come to work in my company, they really don't leave unless we say, hey, this isn't really working out. Which, and sometimes that happens, and it's not even a knock on the person. But if you look at, for example, my executive team, there's 5 VPs that run the company in different areas. And they've all been with me at least 5 years, most of them 10 or more. Then you look at, the next layer managers. We have many, put it this way, we're an 11-year-old. Well, we started the company in 2015, but you guys might remember I was at Remax, then I was with Realty Executives. We didn't go on our own until 2009. So the fact that we have many, many people from those days still with us, I think speaks to I'm a pretty fair guy to work with. That's what I think it's like. I will tell you that, I hear them say that, I'm a great guy to work with as long as you're getting your work done. As long as you're keeping up, I'm a great guy. And I certainly try to be, and I try to treat people fairly, and I try to have people own things. And that's something that I've had to do in the last couple of years because we've grown. We're an organization now that's over 300 people. And comparatively speaking, to some companies, that's small, but to many companies, it's big.
Yeah.
And, we're undoubtedly, without question, going to be into thousands of people over the next, 4 or 5 years. We'll cross 1,000 people within a few years. And as we do that, I'm making sure to give people chances, to give my executives the chance to truly run their division. We have our weekly meeting or our every other week meeting, and I provide them with direction. I provide them with, hey, I think this should be set up this way with this direction, but they work out the details. And once in a while, I'll get involved in the details. Say, sorry, I'm good with all 6 of these, but this one I'm not digging, and here's why. But that's some changes that I've had to make as we've grown.
Yeah, actually, stay on that for 1 second, because I think that's really, really interesting, especially for whether you're an organization of 2 people and you're becoming 6, or you're an organization of 89, you become 275, or even more so. You're still dealing with that same issue, that same problem of when you grow, you have new problems. And the only way to solve them is to have other people become better leaders and better managers and grow themselves. Have you found that in particular?
Grow themselves.
Yes. Have you found that anything in particular has helped you help them? Like, consulting or coaching that you've gotten, or books you've read, or things that you've done, strategies that you've implemented to help them?
Yeah. When they first take over like an entire division, we talk a lot, once a day, at least. Hey, what's going on? Hey, I recommend this. I recommend that. But you have to let go a little, and you have to let them deliver the messages. And once in a while, one of them, between 5 of them, there's always times that, hey, I want you to come in and meet with my team and tell them, you're not playing games on this. And I do. And sometimes I'll say, I'm coming to the meeting. It depends. But you've got to let go, and you've got to let them take the lead. And it's hard to do that. This company, I have 4 children. My 5th child is the company. You know what I mean? I always say my family's most important, but my business feeds my kids. My business feeds my family. So, letting go and letting them actually do it. And sometimes letting them make a mistake and, okay, well, you made a mistake. It didn't work out. Let's change direction. You've got to be willing to do that. And you shouldn't crucify them either. If you're talking with them weekly about a direction, they go down that road, it doesn't work out. I'm not one to say, oh, it's your fault. Well, I knew the direction they were going, right? And I'm not going to go kick them out of the place because some new plan didn't work. So you got to have a level of trust between the two of you.
I like that. And you touched on failure a couple times there, because I think as managers and leaders and sales professionals, we fail a lot. It happens, and fail can be judged in a lot of different ways. But for you specifically, do you have like a favorite failure? And what I mean by that is like a failure that really set you up for success, or something that, like a downturn that you would look back on, you're like, man, this was pivotal because it really hardened my focus.
Well, we have failed at many different advertising endeavors. I said this on stage. We had our Crush It event in January. Did you guys go January 17th? Mm-hmm. We had 700 people. I'm sure you heard. I'm sure you saw it on Facebook. And I said to everyone, I'm like, guys, we have failed. Oh, no, it was the year before that I said this with Suzanne Kohler. You guys know Suzanne. She's a great friend. And she interviewed me. And I said, we have failed at way more television ads than we have been successful. There's been 4 ads that have been home runs, right? There's been 20 that have been failures. The reason that we keep going is we know that it's a medium that is very strong. Presidents get elected because of television ads. We know it's powerful. People see news anchors in stores and they're, oh my God, did you see so-and-so? Yeah, so, it's a very powerful medium. So I know if it's not working, it's something that I'm promoting that isn't working. It's not, because they don't care about me. I mean, people say I'm pretty good at doing it on TV, but they care about what I offer. So when I offer something that they don't like, they don't call. When I offer something they want, they call. That's my point with it's not me, it's the message. So when you say some failures that helped, I would say that we've learned a lot from trying different advertising things that haven't worked. Because one of the basic principles, one of the important principles that I run the company on is no matter how big we get and no matter how many realtors we bring in that have tons of business of their own, I'm a firm believer that a real estate company always has to be generating leads of its own as well. Has to be. It's a basic fundamental principle. And I've always felt this way. And if you talk to me in 10 years, I'm going to say the same thing, because the agents need leads. Newer agents need leads. Sometimes experienced agents need leads. So we're always trying to produce leads. And that's been a big help. Other things, I wouldn't call it a failure because we were very successful.
Anthony, is that a differentiating factor? Just to say on that for one second, is that a differentiating factor from Lamacchia and a lot of other real estate firms? The focus on generating inbound leads?
So not only do we buy leads from some different sources, Realtor.com, places like that, but we generate our own. And the reason I do that is I want us to be able to stand on our own 2 feet. That is critically important. When you have leads, you have leverage. You have leverage with customers, you have leverage with agents, and there's a need. There's a stickiness. There's a glue to the company. And these other companies that provide no leads, they don't spend any money on producing leads, I think they're making a mistake, and I hope they keep making it.
Yeah, because the value proposition at that point is just like support from a marketing infrastructure standpoint, and not necessarily this is how you go get money. This is how you go create a life, right?
100%. And you need to be able to, when someone is new, I mean, you guys remember, you guys are 2 of the best insurance people that I've ever known, right? When you guys started, remember day 1, week 1, month 1, you're like, all right. You're looking at your phone like this. Ring. Please ring. Yeah. Please, right? I mean, I remember those days with me. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, oh, I got a showing tomorrow. 2004, go out and show the house. Yeah. Done showing the house. I'm like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Right? And if you give newbies too much time to think, they get the squirrel syndrome. They start chasing things. You've got to give them business.
I like that.
And one other thing I was going to add, and I wouldn't call it a failure because we were very successful at it. When the market went bad last time, 10 years ago, we adapted and we did very well from it. And that's when I hired a lot of my main people. But embracing challenging times. Yesterday, I talked to a broker owner friend, great guy. He was so down in the dumps. I said, man, stop. It's not going to be like this forever. So when challenges come, I get up earlier, I work later, I work out more. I mean, I know I'm, not exactly the most normal, sane head, right? But when you have a challenge, in the marketplace that everyone is dealing with. COVID, everyone's dealing with COVID-19. Everyone's affected by it. Most people negatively. I'm taking this on like, all right, what am I going to do? How can I put us in a better position? What advantages can I create for our agents? What advantages can I create for our company? And I'm like running at the problem.
Yeah.
So my advice to people, I don't know when you're going to play this, but don't be, well, COVID, I'm going to use this for an excuse for being broke for the next 18 months. You know what I mean? Come on, rise up.
I love that. I think it's so well said. So well said. And we agree with that. Now, you started your career in 2004-ish, like you just mentioned. Going back the clock, giving you a little bit of a softball question, I'm sure you talked about a lot in your Crush It program and a lot with Lamacchia agents in general, is what one piece of advice would you give to your 2004 self? If you could go back in time.
There's about 1,000 things I would have did differently. I would have gotten involved in the Realtor Association a lot sooner. I did not understand the value of connecting with fellow realtors until like 5 years in. And that was a mistake because you can do a lot more business when you're friends with fellow realtors. I mean, there is not a day that goes by, not a day that I don't speak to, well, a weekday, that I don't speak to or text with one of my direct competitors. Even weekends. I mean, not a day or a week of the week that goes by that I'm not in touch with one of them at least. Not in touch with other realtors in other markets around the country. It doesn't happen. I wish I had understood the value of that when I started, because when I started, I had more of an attitude like, I'm just going to advertise and I'm going to kick ass and it's going to be amazing. And, then I start realizing like, all right, this is harder than it looks. And this is a cooperating business. Realtors work with one another to sell properties. And I'd say that's a mistake that I definitely made.
Oh, I love that. I think we both nodded our head because that was exactly the same path we took. I mean, the first 5 years, I don't think we talked to one other insurance agent unless we were sending them a cancellation form, and when we started asking and talking and just sharing ideas, we're like, wow, that would have saved us a crap load of time if we had implemented what you implemented 5 years ago.
100%. And here's the thing. It also goes back to the same principle. Genuinely being a friend with someone, genuinely helping someone. I'll tell you something. You guys have heard about all this PPP program, right? From the CARES Act, right? Paycheck Protection Program. I got wind last week that a competitor, one of my direct competitors, their bank didn't get it done in time. Literally stopped everything I was doing, called this person, said, what's going on? You weren't able to get your money? No. I said, I got a guy in California. He helped 3 other business owner friends. Let me get you connected with him right now. Don't give up. You should get them. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll just lay everybody. I said, are you nuts? The government's giving out money once in 400 years. Take the money, right? And remember, your competition's taking it, so you better take it. That's like not taking bullets in a war, right? I got this person on the phone, email. I called my contact California. I said, you're not going to believe this. One of my direct competitors, help that person. I don't want to say he or she. Help that person. And they did. So it's like, you got to be genuine. And for me, it's natural because I'm that type of person. I was raised by my grandparents. They were 2 of the most giving, wonderful people I ever met in my life. But I didn't act that way when I first got in the business. I treated it like I was still working with my dad doing construction, where like my competitors were like, hi, and you go on your way. That was a critical error. Go to realtor events, connect with realtors, make friends.
Go back to that. So when you said, your dad was in construction or in construction, and that's kind of where you were for a while. What was the impetus to move to real estate? Like, what was the driving force? Or the opportunity that you saw? Or kind of like, what kind of moved you in that direction? Because a lot of us fall into our profession backwards, and we don't really choose sometimes, and then we make the best out of it. But it sounds like you actually took a direction.
Yeah. So what happened was I got out of high school when I was 2000. I barely graduated. I was not a student. I didn't care about school. Hopefully my kids don't hear me say that because I'm not.
Yeah, that was the most quiet you've been the entire.
Yeah, well, I don't condone that, but I was obviously a wild kid, and I played sports, captain of the football team type, but I wasn't a student. But when I got out of school, I had been working since I was very, very young. To give you an example of how serious I was about work at a young age, my punishment in the summers if I misbehaved was I wouldn't be able to work the next day. That was my punishment. So my dad put that in place when I was 9, 8 years old, and with my stepmom at the time. And it was made clear, look, if you don't behave, you can't go to work with dad the next day. So I loved working since I was young. So
that's brilliant, by the way.
yeah, I was a workaholic, very young. But what I'm getting at is when I got out of high school, I had good amount of money saved up because I worked very young. I mean, literally, like my grandmother and my dad used to get in arguments about how young he took me to construction jobs and raking leaves and you name it, cutting lawns. I remember cutting lawns with my dad, right? You know those walk behind lawnmowers, the big wide ones you see landscapers using? They walk like this, the old Skags or Buntons. You guys don't know the names, but that's old machines, right? I used those so young, it was like this for me. And he was like, you can't do that at a customer house. You can do that at our house. But anyway, so when I got out of high school, I had money saved up. So I bought my first property within a year I graduated high school, within 11 months, really. And I bought a condo in Holliston. I fixed it up. I got a rent. And I bought another condo, fixed it up, sold it. Then like year and a half, 2 years later, I bought a 3-family in Worcester. That was funny. All right. Imagine buying a 3-family. You're 21 years old next to Holy Cross, and all your tenants are your age or a year or two younger. So that was funny. So I had a 3-decker in near Holy Cross, like 2 blocks from Holy Cross. And that was fun. You know, that was an interesting experience. And I ended up selling some properties. And the more I bought and sold, and I just liked it. And I said, I like real estate. I read every book you can imagine. I read the cash flow quadrant from Richard, what's his name? Kiyosaki. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read multiple streams of income. You name it, I read it. And it's funny because I never read a book till my senior year in high school either. That's another thing that I had to do my senior thesis on. But anyway, when I got out of high school and it involved money, I read up a storm. And all I wanted to do was buy properties. So I said, geez, well, to buy a lot of properties and flip homes and build homes, I should, because I had a builder's license. I got a builder's license when I was like 22. I should get a real estate license and sell real estate. So the reason I went in was because I had in my head about buying, fixing, and flipping. Funny part of the story is I didn't start doing that with consistency till a year and a half ago. We always, over the years, we had properties we bought here and there, but it didn't happen with, now we have a legitimate Lamacchia development company that we have people that we buy homes, we go in, rehab the home, sometimes just clean it up, put it back on the market. The funny part is, from my original plan to execution took like 17 years. But I learned a lot along the way. But
it was always here, though. It was right in your head.
And we're still honestly in the early stages of that. We're going to do a tremendous amount of business in that space. And we have found a problem. We have found a need for the customer. You know, there are a certain percentage of customers out there who, you know, of clients, of home sellers that really do want to sell, but they don't want to go on the market. They don't want the showings. They don't want to deal with it. And think of it. Do you guys trade your cars in when you need new cars? Do you? I do.
Yeah.
We do that knowing we're going to get a little less money, but we do it because of the convenience. There is a lot of home sellers out there with that attitude, and we're working with them on that. So
I like the ad on that. You know, out of all that I've seen, that was one of my favorite. It really was like an interesting offer. I think you were in a kitchen and you were speaking to another, like the downstairs
kitchen,
right? And it was like basically offering them cash for the house and to like avoid any concerns or issues, you know, no contingencies, et cetera. And then you guys get to take that, fix it up, and sell it. Obviously, everyone wins.
Yeah, and we've done pretty good with it. We've already bought and resold 20-something properties, I think 23 or 24. Made some money on most of them, made a good amount of money on a few, and lost money on a few. So we're dialing in the model, we're getting it right, but we, see a very bright future in that space.
Going around back to your two companies per se, the Crush It and Lamacchia, and obviously development. You deal with a ton of salespeople, both that you manage and that are on your team, as well as your competitors, like you said, you talk to a lot. What is a quality that you admire most in a salesperson?
Honesty.
Quality, honesty.
I can't take it when people try to bullshit me. And when I was selling, I would just be me. Like I remember, I'll tell you a story, and every salesperson should listen to this story for 4 times if they're new in the business. There's a family in Waltham that has been connected with my family through my dad's construction business and their business for 20 years. going back to about 2000. And when I got a real estate license, the dad called me one day and he says, this is like 2 years after I get it. Hey, my son wants to buy a house. And the first son that I worked with, I sold him a house. It was haggling. It was like they questioned everything. They drove me up the wall. Okay. The second son calls me to see a house. We talk, we go over things. He tells me his finances. This is like a year and a half later. It was like 08. We go out and see a home and we look at it. And I looked at him and I said, I don't think you should buy it. He's like, what do you mean? I said, this needs too much work. You can't afford it. He's like, yeah, but I really want it. This is a great deal. It's got that unit, blah, 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 blah. I said, look, man, I understand, but I don't want you getting in over your head. And there's been a lot of people in the last few years that got in over their head. I don't want to sell you this house. He's like, Jesus, all right, well, I feel like it's a good deal, blah, blah. I said, you told me how much money you have. You and I just went through that house. I'm telling you, things cost more than you think. I don't want you getting in over your head. You're the client. I'll do what you want. But my advice to you is do not buy this home. I leave him. He leaves me. I talked to him yesterday, actually. He goes back to his office. I go back to mine. Phone rings. It's his dad. Anthony. I said, hey, how you doing, Johnny? He goes, I got to tell you, kid, you act like a realtor less than any effing realtor I've ever seen. I said, well, what do you mean? He says, my son just got back to the office. He told me you told him not to buy that home you showed him. I said, yeah, I don't think he can handle it. It's too much for him. He goes, he didn't tell you part of the story. I said, what? He goes, I'm helping him. I said, oh, okay. I didn't know that. That changes the equation. He goes, come on over. We're writing an offer. I drive over. I write the offer. I submit it. It was the easiest transaction of my life. They did everything I said. They trusted me. First transaction, they were new to me. I was new to them. Not new to me. Like I knew them from before, from construction. But they were like, what is this landscaping kid doing in real estate? Second transaction, when I met the other son and said, I don't want you to buy this. From that point forward, this is going back 12 years. Every single person in their family, their friends, comes through us to buy a home. Every time. Every time, this is what they do. They either email me or call me. The old man calls me a lot of times. Anthony, sending my sister over. She's a pain in the ass, but take care of her, all right? Yep, no problem. We sign the business up. We sell the home. When I think back, it fascinates me, but I understand it, that because of my actions that day, because I told the truth, like I do with all my clients, they believe us forever and they're loyal to our brand forever because of that. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of salespeople, what they do is they worry about making a buck today, but they cost themselves $5 later because they're just trying to close. No. When I do my weekly updates on Crush It since COVID, the first 3 weeks I said, everybody, don't be selling. Number one, don't be pushing people to list their homes. Don't be pushing people to buy homes. Nobody wants to be sold right now. Be compassionate. Be there for them. Help them. I know you guys roll the same way. I said, help them. Be straight with them. And it comes back to you in droves later. So like, that's the biggest advice I have for a new salesperson is don't go out the door in the morning trying to make a sale today. You have to play the long game. And when you play the long game, sometimes you make a little less today, but you make a lot more tomorrow. And then you build a client base that's loyal to you.
I think that's perfect advice. I think so many people need to hear that, especially when they're starting. Doesn't matter what industry they're in.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Real estate's just an example, but couldn't agree with you more. I think that, and that's why, making good decisions early on in your career in terms of leverage and debt and other things is so important. Like if you don't have savings saved up, if you're over leveraged, if you go out and, you're renting too expensive of a house or buying too expensive a car, well, that advice might go in one ear and out the other when you have a $3,000 bill next month that you have to pay somehow. Well, yeah, I got to close on this property, right? So it's just really great advice.
Yeah, I love that advice. Matt and I are nodding our heads the whole time. So we are telling our team, you have to like really more than ever lead with empathy right now because you're so.
That's right. But it comes from being genuine. It comes from in here, not up here. You got to actually give a damn about the client. And if you don't, go in another business.
You're right. You're right on. And it's so hard though. And you read posts about pain all over the place. So, it's hard to talk to our team who's doing in sales. They might be in pain and they're dealing with somebody who's not in pain. or vice versa. And so I love that you're just saying, you know what, screw all of it, go back to your core values and who you are as a person, and that will lead you through anything, through a crisis and through great booming times.
And it doesn't mean you have to slow down. To your point, like this is a time to speed up, but not in the way that you may have been doing in the past. And our business development specialist, like, she's sending out 250 emails a day to non-clients. These are people that said no to us over the years or left us. These are people that don't even work with us. It's over 6,000 individuals. And she's CCing loan officers saying, this is the time that you need to refinance, or at least talk about it. And it's not about insurance. It's not a focus on trying to sell them more policies or whatever, but that's what clients need. That's what consumers and humans need right now, is to reduce their expenses at a time when they actually can. And that's what we mean by like running and sprinting in the right direction.
Well, yeah, and think about what we talked about in the beginning. You asked me, why does the Crush It page do good? Well, I think one of the reasons is I genuinely want to help people, and they can see that comes across. I bump into realtors at realtor events, and they're like, I can't believe all you share. And I'm like, whatever. I'm sure there's a few people, I mean, I know there is, that aren't ever coming to my company, but I'm helping them. Great. Good for them. God bless them. I hope they sell more homes. I hope they have a better life. Like, if I help them have a better life and they never join my company, I'm happy with that. It's fine.
Yeah. You're still creating impact.
Yeah. I mean, so what?
Yeah, we only have a couple minutes left. I want to be respectful of your time. But do want to ask you a question. Is there a question that you wish people would ask you more?
That's a good one, huh? I don't want to come off selfish, but if I was on the other side of the listeners, I'm surprised more people don't say, all right, tell me more about your company. We get that every day of every week. Never fails. But the skepticism, the thing that costs people the most money in their life. I mean, you guys have done it. I've done it. You ever get involved with something and go, God damn it, I knew about this 4 years ago. I should have got involved then. We've all done it. Every single person that joins our company, every single one within a month goes, good God, I should have came here when I started. Oh my God, I should have came sooner. But what prevented them? Skepticism, pride, right? We just had a woman join just last week who 2 months ago told one of our business development people, I'm going to write out the year. Then COVID happens. I'm doing updates every week. She's on watching my updates. Her clients are watching my updates on the Lamacchia Realty page, not the Crush It page. She sees that and she's like, what the hell? My clients are watching him too? So she asked the client, what turned you on to watch Anthony Lamacchia? Well, I see him on TV, but honestly, I saw you watching. So I'm on the Lamacchia Realty Facebook page every Monday at 3 right now, giving real estate updates. She's a realtor. She's watching. Her client saw that she's watching, so she joined. And it's like, I want to say to the person, you know, the average agent that joins our business, that joins our company, grows their business over 300% in the first year. Wow. If I heard that 300, it's actually 318% in the first year, the average agent that joins. If I heard that, I'm like, whoa, what? Tell me more. Now, I know I'm a doer, right? My knowing doing gap is like, it doesn't exist. Once I get curious, I'm on it. I can't tell you how many business trips I've been on that I left, flew out of Logan, and I'm like, I hope I get something out of this. But what do most realtors do? Oh, let me see that trip. Oh, there's 19,000 realtors going to the National Association event in November. Let me find 54 reasons that I won't go. It's like, what? How about go and just see how you do? I bet you'll get something from it. Like, I've gone on trips that I've come back with 10 takeaways. I've gone on trips that I've come back with 1. But almost every trip I ever went on was worth it. Almost every single one. Because I put myself out there. And what do most realtors do? Not just realtors either. It's people. They just, all the time.
Yeah, activity breeds results.
100%. So when you say, do I wish people would ask more? Yeah, I wish more people would say, all right, I surrender. Tell me about your company. Let me hear more about it. You know what I mean?
Drop the guard.
Stop the bullshit. You know, we got people running over, I don't want to say in droves, but we've had a real good few weeks, right? It's April 23rd. We've had a real good few weeks of new realtors joining from other companies. And half of them, I want to be like, really? 2 years ago, I told you, you didn't listen. Like, come on. But that's life. That's sales.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, really appreciate your time today. I know you got to fly another commitment, but this was like just so much fun for us. And we knew it would be, but your enthusiasm and passion just bleeds through, and obviously, the answers to the questions you provide are all very personal from your own experience, which just comes off very genuine. So I know that our listeners will really appreciate it and kind of hear it and feel it while they're listening. So I really appreciate your time, your insight, your input, everything.
Well, thank you. And you know what? I'm honored to be here. You guys do a great job, and you guys are well-known, well-spoken. You got a well-respected company, and I was honored to be on. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And the two words I wrote down as I was just like listening to talk, skepticism and honesty, those are big takeaways for me. I think you're so right. There are so many times where I've personally made minor losses over the years, minor fails, whatever, and I've just assumed that the other person has it better than me. And that's just, I'm gonna listen to your interview over again. That skepticism part, I think, was just gold.
Really good. I'm glad it helped.
Yeah. Congrats.
We're all learning every day. Believe me too.
Yeah.
Good for you, buddy. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony.
You're the best.